All right, so we're going to welcome you to today's session. As always, we're excited to present new information to you that will challenge you as students and help you to grow and kind of give you a better knowledge of the different resources that are available to you through our Student Success Series. Today's topic is networking, how to connect with people who connect you to your future. So you're going to hear about some of the services that we provide. We'll have some special information in conjunction with Ms. Becnel. We have Ms. Dakota Eason, who is our Director of Career Services for the college, who will be kind of co-presenting with Ms. Becnel to provide some information about some of the services that her department provides to students. So I'm excited for you all to meet her and hear the different things that she has to offer for you all, okay? And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lynn, and she will begin our presentation for today.
Okay, well, thank you so much, each of y'all, for joining us today. I'm so excited about this topic because, as Dr. Montgomery said, the topic is networking. And this particular topic has been suggested by you, the students, as a student that you want, as a topic that you wanted to hear a success seminar about. And I'm so glad that you did because it's such an important topic. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. So let's get started with, as Dr. Montgomery said, how to connect with people who connect you to your future. That's really what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start this series, as we do many of our series, by defining the term networking. Networking specifically is the cultivation of productive relationships for employment or business. So it's the cultivation of relationships. So what that really boils down to is building relationships. A popular author says that building relationships is one of your most powerful career building tools. So that's why I'm glad that y'all chose this topic and that we're talking about this topic today, because it is one of our most powerful career building tools, and we all have to learn more about it and learn to be good at it. There's so much interesting information available about networking that I've narrowed it down to, so sorry, I've narrowed it down to two topics. How do we network and who do we network with? In between these two parts, that's when I'm going to have the pleasure of turning it over to Dakota Eason, as Dr. Montgomery said, our new Director of Career Services, and she has some fabulous resources to share with you about how to be the best networker that you can be. So we'll start with the how. How do we network? We need three tools in our toolbox to network. This screen is the most important screen, and we're going to publish this PowerPoint with the video of today's success series. So I hope everybody will access this screen and print it out, because it truly is the key to effective networking. Three tools that we need in our toolbox. And you remember that when we talked about networking, we said we're building relationships. So ask yourself the question, how do we build relationships? We build relationships by communicating. And as human beings, how do we communicate? We communicate on paper, online, and in person. So we're building relationships by communicating on paper, online, and in person. So let's talk about the first one. In a business setting, especially, how do we communicate best on paper? Our number one most powerful tool is a good, concise resume. So you want to keep it to one page if you can. You want to include accurate work experience and dates. You want to include good references and let the references know that you've included them so they'll be ready for that phone call. You want to make sure that it is absolutely 100% error-free. This is not easy to accomplish. So you need to proofread it, and you need to ask multiple other people to proofread it. And you want to keep it current at all times, because you never know when you're going to need it. Ms. Dakota is going to talk to us more about resumes and resume building in just a few minutes. Our second important tool for our toolbox is the positive online presence. So for a moment, just stop and think, picture your social media right now and think about what's on that social media. Stop and ask yourself this question: what does my social media say about me? I think that the term social media is a very misleading term. And I think that that term causes us to think that we're protected in a way and make some bad choices. So I want you to think about this for a second. The United States Department of Labor, a huge organization, they are number crunchers. They say that 77% of recruiters run searches on candidates on the web to screen them. That means 77% of the people you're trying to get a job with are going to be checking you out online. And now more and more companies actually hire other companies to check you out online. So you want to think about it. We say to ourselves, well, this is my work life and this is my social life. Or we say, this is my work life and this is my professional life. And somehow in our minds, we think that those are two separate things. But when you put stuff out there on social media, you're putting them out there in the public domain. So no more is your personal life separated from your work life. It becomes one. So the next time you're about to post something, stop and say to yourself, you use that term social media and it makes you think that you're just posting that to show your friends what you did this weekend. But in reality, you're showing a future employer, a potential employer, someone who might hire you, what you've done this weekend. So you want to stop and think before you post anything online. So look at that social media, and if you need to clean up your social media, it takes more time than you can imagine to really get that done, because you often have to work with others to clean up your social media too. What's super important is to make sure that your social media paints a picture of you that is positive, respectful, and professional. You want to get involved in clubs and organizations that are important to you now and in your future. And you want to make sure that your social media reflects that dedication. And you especially want to utilize professional platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and Bark to build that positive online presence and make those strong connections through those kinds of platforms. I'm going to tell you a true story. I talked to an administrator in the Texas education system just this last week. And she said they have candidates, hundreds and hundreds of candidates, and they pick out the ones that look great on paper. They call them in and they'll have a great interview. And then they go to do that online check of them. And they realize that these people do not respect themselves or others, and they're not professional, and they can't hire them. That's a real life story. So I want to strongly encourage you to take a hard look at your social media, because one of those 3 essential tools to effective networking is a positive online presence. Everything you post, you've got to think, this is not just for my friends, it's for everybody, including future employers, who's going to look at that later on. All right, our third tool in the toolbox is a 1 to 3 minute power speech. So everyone present today has had to introduce yourself hundreds of times in your lifetime already. So you know what it's like when you kind of just stand around and you say, hi, I'm Lynn, how are you doing? And they say, hi, how are you doing? And you don't know quite what to say. So I'm going to encourage you to create a 1 to 3 minute power speech and make your words count. In that power speech, you should be ready to introduce yourself at all times. You should look the person you're talking to right in the eye. Include a little bit about your background, what your field of study is, what your work experience is, what you'd like to do. Let them know what you have to offer and highlight any expertise you have, especially your attitude. Be enthusiastic about what you want to tell them, and include participation in clubs or organizations, whatever you're involved in, and be ready to give 1 or 2 examples about that. Now that sounds like a lot, but this is a very, very important part of our series today. It sounds like a lot, but in a few minutes, I'm going to give you 4 brief examples of power speeches. They're all going to be a little bit different. I've crafted them very carefully, so I'm hoping that you will listen carefully and you will pick up on the differences, because A, I want to inspire you and give you some food for thought. B, I want you to realize that it really is easy to do this. And 3, I'm going to challenge you. This is my challenge for you, that before you go to bed tonight, you're going to stop and put some thoughts down about what your 1 to 3 minute power speech can include. Know that you will develop this over the course of your lifetime, and the more you practice it, the better you will get at it. Very important tool that you need to have in your toolbox. Before I give you those 4 examples, I'm going to ask you to open your chat box because I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Once again, I've crafted these 3 questions to inspire you to think, so there is no right or wrong answer. They all have a yes or no answer. So as I ask you these questions, the first thing that comes into your mind, just go ahead and type yes or no into the chat box. The first question is, when you sit down in an interview or you're talking to someone you hope is going to hire you, do you think the number one thing that you bring to the table is your skill set? When you sit down with someone you want to hire you, do you think the number one thing you bring to the table is your skill set? Just type yes or no in the chat box with that answer. The first thing that comes to your head. No right or wrong answer, y'all. Very good. Thank you. See, there's a big variety of answers there. That's fabulous. Thank y'all so much for popping in there and answering that question. Yes, it definitely makes you think. All right, second question. When you sit down in an interview or you're talking to someone you hope is going to hire you, do you think that the number one thing you bring to the table is your work experience? In other words, do you think that this person's only going to hire you if they know you have work experience and you know how to do that job? Yes or no? Lots of no's in there. Very good. Absolutely. Skills are important and work experience are both important. Last question. When you sit down in an interview or you're talking to someone you hope is going to hire you, do you think the number one thing you bring to the table is your attitude and the way you handle yourself? Yes or no? Lots of yeses. Lots of yeses coming in there. Very good. Awesome. Number one, thank you all for participating in those 3 questions. I appreciate that. It definitely makes you think, right? You had to think to answer those questions. And now I'm going to share some absolutely amazing statistics with you. Once again, this is the United States Department of Labor. So they have a huge amount of data that they're crunching to produce these numbers. And when asked what's going to get you the job, their answer is 40% attitude. That is staggering. 40% attitude, 25% image and appearance, 25% communication skills, verbal and nonverbal. And remember, that's what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about communicating on paper, online, and in person, and 10% job skills. So think about that for a second. That is absolutely amazing. So for everybody out there today who's thinking, well, I'm not going to apply for that job because I don't know how to do that job. They're never going to hire me. Throw that out the window, because I can assure you, looking at these statistics and through my own experience in life and probably some of yours, if you have the right attitude and you're willing to learn and you're determined, go after that job because you're probably going to get it. So I'm not saying that every job is looking for somebody who is unskilled, but there are many, many jobs who are looking for the right kind of personality, the right kind of attitude, and they're going to hire you and give you that chance and train you. So think about that. So I'm going to unshare my screen in just a second, but try to take a hard look at that again. 40% attitude, 25% appearance, and 25% communication skills. I'm going to unshare my screen and I'm going to share those 4 examples of power speeches for you. So listen carefully and think while I'm telling you these 4 stories. First example, I am going into my sociology class, my first sociology class of the semester today. After class, I'll walk up to the instructor and I say, hi, I look her right in the eye. I'm Lynn Becnel and I'm here at North Shore Technical Community College because I want to transfer over to Southeastern and become a social worker. I had some really strange and challenging situations in my earlier life. And there were a couple of social workers who had such a positive influence on my life that I really want to go on to be a social worker and I want to do the same thing for others. So I'm so excited to be here in your class and I'm looking forward to learning. That was a 1-minute power speech. I timed it. So tell me if you can turn on your microphones and just give me a 1 or 2 word answer because we have so much to cover today. What do you think the takeaway is for that instructor? What is she going to think about me? 1 or 2 words. You can put it in the chat box or you can put on your microphone. What is that instructor going to think? Let me get you started. She's going to think, number one, I shared with her that I had challenges in my childhood, and not everybody shares those kinds of things with you. That's going to stick out to her. Eager to learn, willing to learn. Absolutely, yes. Thank y'all so much for that. Right. And she's going to know that I'm really determined to be a social worker. That's going to stand out in her mind. Here's the thing, that the food for thought I want you to think about. That instructor might be best friends with the department head of social work at Southeastern, who might in turn be best friends with someone out in the field who is going to eventually, you have a positive goal, terrific. Yes, absolutely. And I'm focused. That person who hires me out in the field, that might end up happening because I started that conversation out with that power speech. I built a relationship with that instructor over the course of that sociology class. I carried that on when I transferred to Southeastern. You have no idea how the dots are going to be connected that connect you to your future down the road. It starts with that power speech. Wanting to learn and not just sitting around waiting to be handed anything. Absolutely. That's a great one, y'all, because I could have been that student who just walked out the classroom at the end of class. I would have lost a tremendous opportunity to network with someone who actually has experienced the field that I'm interested in. Don't let any opportunities pass you by. Second example, on Monday, I have an appointment at a daycare in my neighborhood. So first of all, I'm going to be respectful of the director's time, and I'm going to be a few minutes early. I'm going to be dressed cleanly and neatly and as professionally as I can. And when she calls me back to her office, I'm going to look her right in the eye and I'm going to say, my name is Lynn Becnel. Thank you so much for this opportunity to interview. As you could see from my resume, I'm a student at North Shore Technical Community College, and I'm in the Care and Development of Young Children program because I love to work with children. And I believe that children at an early age form the platform on which the rest of their entire learning is going to be built. So it's so important to me. And I'm really hoping to get some hands-on experience here. And once again, I thank you so much for this interview. So what's the takeaway? That was about a minute, maybe 15 seconds. So I want you to realize there was a lot packed in there. It was very short. What is the takeaway, do you think, of that director? A word or two, you can put it in the chat or turn on your microphone. What do you think she's going to think of me? Number one, she's going to know that I'm not there to get a job just because it's convenient in my neighborhood. I would hire her, absolutely. If you don't get a job, the director may come back to you with an opportunity, absolutely. Love kids, dedicated and trustworthy, for sure. All of those things. And she's especially going to say to herself, not only is this student learning in an education scenario about this field, she wants a long-term career here. You can't imagine how hard it is if you look at those statistics for employers to find good employees and keep them over the long term. So her immediate thought's going to be, I have a child care center, cool. She's going to say that this is a person I might be able to develop into a long-term employee. It is very, very likely that I'm going to get that job. Think about that. Always put your best forward. You never know who's going to be placed in your path. And that's really a lot of what we're talking about today. So thank you to whomever put that. Absolutely. You never know who's going to connect you to your future by getting that first thing started, that first tool in your toolbox. Third example, I have looked at the recplex that's on the highway right outside of on the edge of town in Hammond here, and I like what I see. There's a lot of activity going on. I see a real positive environment. So I've called ahead to the director and I've asked him if he would give me 5 or 10 minutes of his time. And he has granted that to me. And my appointment is at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So number one, I'm going to be respectful of his time and I'm going to be a few minutes early. Number two, I'm going to be dressed neatly and I'm going to be clean. And it doesn't mean you have to dress up to go to a recplex, but I am still going to be dressed as professionally as is appropriate. And when he calls me back to his office, I'm going to look him right in the eye and I'm going to say, hi, my name is Lynn Becnel. Thank you so much for being willing to give me your time. I've kind of looked at what's going on here at the recplex and I'm really excited about it. I'm a student at North Shore Technical Community College. And I'm taking general education classes because I'm transferring to Southeastern in kinesiology. I don't know whether I'm going to do the exercise science concentration or the sport management concentration yet, But sports has been such an important part of my life that I really want to give something back. So I'm hoping that I can come and maybe shadow you, kind of follow you around for a couple of hours or a couple of days, or maybe I can substitute as an assistant coach if a coach calls in sick, or I'd like to offer some service hours because I really just want to be in this environment. I like what I see and I want to get some hands-on experience if you would consider me for those opportunities. That was about a minute and a half, y'all, a little bit longer. I had a lot to cover there, but what do you think the takeaway is of that director? A word or two. What do you think he's going to think about me? Number one, he's going to know that I am dedicated enough that I'm learning about this subject, and especially that I'm willing to give my time to get this hands-on experience that I'm not expecting to get paid. That's going to stand out. Absolutely. Student wanting to learn. This person is interested in what I do for a living. I can build into their life and help them. Absolutely. So it's going to stand out for him. He's going to pay attention to what I've told him. I'm hoping that he's going to give me that opportunity. And here's the amazing thing in a scenario like that, you're committed to your passion totally, absolutely, is I'm going to have the opportunity to build relationships with that director, his assistant directors, with the coaches. Then it's going to get even bigger because I'm going to have the opportunity to build relationships with the parents. When you start connecting those dots, you have no idea what the potential is for connecting you to your future. So take advantage of those kind of opportunities and realize that it's an opportunity to build a relationship, lots of relationships. Fourth and last example. My friend has invited me over for pizza tonight. So I go to her house and I see that her mom is in scrubs. So I ask my friend, hey, what's your mom do? And she tells me she's an LPN at Lally Kemp. So I say, oh, I'm so excited. Can I go and talk to her? And she says, yes. So I walk up to this mom and I say, hi, my name is Lynn. And my friend told me that you're an LPN. I'm so excited because I'm a student at North Shore Technical Community College in the practical nursing curriculum. And I'm so excited to talk to somebody who actually does this for a living. Would you mind if I pick your brain for just a minute? Would you mind telling me what your day-to-day looks like, what you love about your job, what you might not love as much? Because I would love to hear it. And then she's going to say whatever she has to say. And then you're going to say, well, I was hoping to call Lally Kemp actually and ask them if I could come and shadow. So I don't know if they're able to allow me to do that right now with COVID and everything, but as soon as they are, would you mind if I give them your name as someone I can come and shadow? And she's going to say whatever she says. And you're going to say, thank you so much for giving me this real life window into what it's really like to be an LPN. That means so much to me. Thank you so much. That was a tiny bit longer because it was a three-part conversation. But what do you think her takeaway is from that conversation after she talks to me? What do you think she's going to think? Number one, she's going to know that I'm excited. It is absolutely one of my favorite professions. So she's going to see my enthusiasm. You remember that word that I showed you on that screen earlier about being enthusiastic? She's going to see my enthusiasm. She happens to be best friends with the director of nursing at a hospital that I'm going to apply to a year or so down the road. I am going to develop my relationship, build my relationship with her. She is going to let me shadow, and I'm going to get to know people in the hospital, and I'm going to be able to put her as a reference on my resume. And all of a sudden, all of those connectors are going to connect me to my future because I started that conversation with that 1 to 3 minute power speech way back when I was in school. So I want you to think about the power of all of that. It's absolutely amazing. It's mind-boggling when you think about it. So before we get to part 2 of our seminar, which I promise is much shorter, which is the Who Do We Network With, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Dakota. For anybody who joined us late, she is one of our newer team members of North Shore Technical Community College. Super excited to have her, and she's got lots of exciting resources to share with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lynn, for having me today. And thank you all for joining us. Networking is one of the most critical things to any individual. It's critical for your work life as well as your personal life. So like Lynn mentioned earlier, I am your Director of Career Services. I actually am housed at the Lacombe campus, but I actually do career services for each of our campuses here. And my job, primarily in a nutshell, is to make sure that once you're done with the education that you've received with us, that you're able to translate that into the work world and that you're able to connect with either an internship opportunity or a actual employment opportunity. And the way that I do that is several different ways. It's more than even trifold. But before I do that, I'd like to give you guys my power speech. So my name is Dakota Eason. I am the Director of Career Services with North Shore Technical Community College. And I am here to assist you in making sure that you are connected to the opportunities that it will take for you to be successful in your careers. I would love to share with you all some of the experiences that I've had, primarily the background that I've had in workforce development, as well as my current role as not only Director of Career Services, but as Workforce Readiness Director for the North Shore Society for Human Resources Management. So that was about a minute and a half there, but that told you a little bit about myself, a little bit about my background and what I have to offer you all. So I just wanted to give you guys one of those too, so you can be aware that it's just that simple as you telling a little bit about yourself, being confident in what you're saying, and being able to tell that in a very convincing way. So I'm going to
And I
do.
got to jump in there, y'all, and say that we did not plan that. So she's just going with that, and truly, it's really just that simple and just so powerful. And that was awesome, Dakota. Thank you.
No problem, Lynn. Absolutely. And the thing about it is, you all know yourself. I know myself. I can tell you about myself, and you know yourself as well. You know what you're passionate about. Passionate about. You know what you want to do. Don't be afraid when you have those opportunities to just go ahead and go for it. Like Lynn mentioned in that third example, you know, she knows that she wants to go into nursing, and that her friend's mom is working at the institution she wants to work at. Go right ahead. You never know. You're going to have those opportunities come out in the most unexpected ways. So always be ready with that elevator speech or that power statement. So I'm going to share with you all my screen. And you all should now be seeing something very familiar, your northshorecollege.edu homepage. Now, in order to get to our career services and to actually connect with myself, it's really, really simple. You just want to go to that students tab that's on the northshorecollege.edu website, and you're just going to scroll down to career services and select that option. Once you do that, this page is probably one of the most underutilized resources that are on our site, but that's okay. That's why I'm here today to talk to you all a little bit about it. But as you can see here, we have our services that are available not just to our current students, but also to alumni. So we are able to help you with your resume to make sure that, again, like Ms. Lynn mentioned earlier, your resume needs to be completely error-free. We're here to make sure that that is the case, that you have a resume that is grammatically correct, that the spelling is correct, that it flows very well, because you may not know this, but there are usually about a 30, even 15-second window for an human resource manager or a recruiter to look at your resume. And if they are not either able to read it clearly, or if they are having any difficulty understanding any sections of it, they're going to completely look over your resume for that opportunity. So you want to make sure that it is correct. But we also are here to help you with your interviewing skills. Right now, we're actually, a lot of people are doing interviews virtually. They're not doing interviews in a face-to-face capacity as much as pre-pandemic. So we're here to help coach you through that too, how to make sure that you're comfortable on screen doing a virtual interview if that's something that comes available for you. And then of course, we do want to take those skills that we've learned and actually apply them on the job. So I'm also dedicated to helping make sure that if you are looking for an internship or an actual full-time position, that I can connect you to those. But as you can see here, we do have all those services available. And if you check right here, we do have our Gator Career site. I encourage you all, if you're not already registered on the Gator Careers site, to do so. It's very simple. It takes less than 5 minutes for you to do so. But this is actually a spot where I actually ask our employers that I interact with to post their internship and job opportunities there. You can actually also look at this Gator Career site for information on labor market data as well. So if you're not sure what you want to do as a final job or your career, you're not sure, there's some interesting tools in that great Gator Career site to help you figure out that as well. We also are going to be doing some on campus and virtual recruiting events. We actually, I don't know if many of you all saw it in your emails, but earlier this month on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, we actually had a hiring event where there were 8 employers from 8 different industry partners that were there talking about their open positions. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of those by making sure that you're checking your North Shore email address, because I send those out at least once a week with different recruiting events and different job opportunities as well. And then, of course, if you need to talk to me directly, you have my email right here. You just click on that and it'll email directly to me. You can, ask me a question again about your resume, or you need help preparing for that interview. I'm here to help you. And you can just go ahead and email me there. I'll give you a call, or we can, have a virtual meeting, whatever is most convenient for you to make sure that you're comfortable with going into the work world. There are some additional services here like career coach. So this is another resource that's available for you to kind of get an idea of what are the opportunities that are available right now. What are the careers that are going to be in demand in the next 10 to 15 years? We do a really great job here at North Shore Tech in making sure that you're getting the curriculum that you need. But then say, for instance, you decide, I want to go into something different. I'm doing medical, but I want to go into something more technical. Well, that's great. Let's figure out what exactly those positions are that you would be a good fit for, and then how you get there. Career coach is fantastic for helping you figure out that part. Again, any events that we plan on having usually are going to be posted here on the events tab. And then we also would be sending those to your North Shore College email address. If you know someone that has already completed their education with North Shore Tech, I encourage you to ask them to come on back, and if they're looking for jobs, to click on this link, because we do have job opportunities that are available to our alumni. Once you're a Gator, you're always a Gator, and we're here to make sure that you stay connected to those opportunities. And then we also have some career prep services too. So if you are getting ready to go into that job, just making sure that you have your professional, attire, and you're ready to actually get into the work world, and you want to make sure that you're, doing it right. We do have some services there to assist with that as well. So I wanted to share with you all this site, and I definitely encourage you all to, more than anything, go ahead and log into and create an account on that Gator Career site if you have not already done so. And then please feel free to email me at any point in time if you have any questions or concerns or need any more in-depth assistance. Another resource that I wanted to show you all is this Career Waves 2 platform. You should be getting an email from me shortly, and we're going to actually have a tour that is going to be set up directly for you as a North Shore Tech student. So usually what this is, it's going to be kind of showing you about the different technical programs that are available, of course, at North Shore, but then it's also going to show you how to get to the different career pathways that you want to get to. So I encourage each of you to make sure that you stay alert, stay engaged with your emails, because I'm going to be sending out some information about that event. There's also a lot of resources for different special populations. So we know that we have students that are traditional, and then we have a lot of non-traditional students with us as well. So there are different resources that are available for veteran students, for non-traditional students, single parents, and even students with disabilities. So you definitely will want to check out the different opportunities that are there. One other thing that I would really just like to highlight is events. So if you go to the Career Waves 2 portal and click on events, this is actually going to be where there are different webinars that you can attend. Usually they're going to be via Zoom, but it can be something as simple as an overview of financial aid services if you're not sure about that. This is that Career Waves 2 tour that I told you about that's going to be directly for North Shore Tech students only. So this is an exclusive event just for you all, just to give you an idea of what this platform is and what it has to offer, which is a lot. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's a lot of great stuff that's on there. So I do look forward to seeing you guys there on April 13th. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. And I just want everyone to be aware that I'm going to put in the chat box for you all my email address for you to contact me if you are ever in need of career services. Again, do not be shy. I am here to help. I actually love meeting you all and talking to you all about your career goals. So that email address is right there in the box for you all. So please engage with me. I look forward to speaking with you all and making sure that you are ready to take that knowledge that you've gotten from us at North Shore and apply it to your career. Thank you all.
Awesome, awesome, awesome presentation. Aren't y'all all amazed at all the services that you have at your fingertips and that you have a professional to help you with each and every one of those? Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, Dakota. I appreciate that. I learned a lot in that session. Amazing resources that we have. Also, y'all, I've read a lot of the text messages that y'all had in there from the earlier part of our session today. And I want to thank you especially for putting all those comments in there. They really add to the whole discussion. They help us all to think more. So thank you all so much for participating like you do. Our second part, I'm going to share my screen again. Just for a second. Remember this again about the 40% attitude, 25 appearance, and 25 communication skills before we move on to part 2, which is the who. Who do we connect with? So we've talked about how do we connect, how do we network? We network by building relationships, and we do that by communicating on paper, online, and in person. We talked to Ms. Dakota and we utilize all the resources that are available through North Shore. And now we want to talk about who. And before I click to the next screen, I want y'all to answer that question for me. After hearing this talk today, who do you think that we network with? One word answer. You can put it in the chat or you can turn on your microphone. Who do we network with? Come on, you guys. Everyone, absolutely. Thank you so much. Everyone and anyone. And that really is what is so important for you to understand. We make connections and we build relationships, whether good or bad, with everybody we come in contact with. So whether that's work or school or church or family or friends, you never know when that church member or that uncle or the parent of a friend is going to be impressed with that power speech or the way you handle yourself, your attitude, your enthusiasm, whatever it might be. And it's going to connect you to your future and you have no idea. In a moment, I'm going to share a story with you that is absolutely amazing to me. But before I do that, let me show you this screen. You broaden your connections beyond family and friends and church and work, etc. And you volunteer or intern or shadow, join a club or an organization, or offer service hours. In all these instances, be your best self because you never know which one of those people is going to be the person that connects you to your future. I'm not saying that you have to be perfect all the time, but work at being your best self, work at using those 3 tools in your toolbox because you never know what's going to happen. So here's a very quick real life story. When I was in my early 20s, I was still in school and I applied for a job at Motorola. That was probably one of the leading communications companies in the country at that time. It was a big operation in New Orleans. I had virtually no skills developed at that time. Again, I'm in my early 20s, but I applied for the job and I was granted an interview. So I walked into that interview and who is there but a friend I hadn't seen since the 6th grade. She was one of my best friends in the 6th grade. Her name was Lori. And I said, I'm here for the interview. And she said, well, this is my position coming open because I'm moving out of state to get married. So we chatted for a minute. I'll never know exactly what she said or did because I would never ask her and put her on the spot. But I feel sure that she went to her bosses and said, this is one of my best friends from 6th grade. She was a good student. She was a good person. She was respectful. Whatever the case might be, again, I will never know, but I will tell you that with virtually no skills, but with a whole lot of heart and soul, because I was determined to get that job, They gave me that job and I worked at that job for 4 years. I learned a tremendous amount of skills and that built the foundation on which I was able to get my next job. If in the 6th grade, you would have asked me when I was in the cafeteria or running around on the playground, if my friend Lori would have had anything to do with connecting me to my future, I would have said, you're totally crazy, right? So to bring home to you, and I could tell you several other stories like that, but I know we don't have time to share them today, but you never know who it's going to be, who is going to connect you to your future. So be your best self all the time, build relationships because it truly is a small world after all. The older I get, the more I live life, the more I realize how true that statement is. It is a small world. Join hands with everybody you meet, build those relationships, and you never know what wonderful things are going to happen. Before I open up the floor to questions and comments, I want to remind you, as always, log into your Canvas and Gator Mail every single day. Utilize our resources under library, under Learning Commons, and on our success page. And now you can add to that the wonderful resources on our career services page. Always, always, always reach out to student services if you need anything. If you're confused, if you're feeling lost, if you want help with Gator Mail, if you want to help setting up a study group, for example, whatever it is, come to student services and give us a chance to serve you. That's what we're there for you. That's what we're there for. And as always, keep your chin up and stay positive. We believe in you and you can do it. So I'm going to unshare my screen and open the floor for anybody who has any questions. If anybody wants to tell a story about they know that their friend so-and-so got a job because their friend's uncle had a company and liked what they saw in that student and hired them, or any kind of stories like that. Anybody want to share anything like that? No, I get you. I get you. All right. Well, I just want to say once again, thank y'all so much for all of your comments. I want to remind you that next week is advising week. So connect with your advisor or student services and set up to be advised for your classes for the next semester. And if you have any suggestions of topics for future success series, we would love to hear them. We want to be able to present things to you that are going to, mean something to you. So definitely let somebody in student services know what you'd like to hear. And I'm hoping that y'all are going to blow up Dakota's email before the end of the week. Thank y'all so much. Last thing that I want to say is that I'm hoping that everybody is going to accept my challenge. And before you go to bed tonight, spend those minutes and you're going to realize, like I showed you, it's really not hard. Start putting those notes together and practice that power speech. And I promise you get better and better at it as time goes by. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for all your comments. Y'all let us know if you need anything, okay?
Thank you guys so much for attending today. We appreciate your attendance. I'm looking through the attendee list to make sure that everybody's name is there. It looks like everybody updated, so we should be able to document your attendance today. And again, great job to our presenters. Did an excellent job in collaboration with your presentations. And please be sure to utilize those resources because it will make a difference. So many times we have students who struggle to find employment and be successful. And then they come a year later and sit down with us, and then they're able to gain employment quickly. So you guys be proactive in that effort. And if you do see that you're running into some challenges, we don't just throw you away when you graduate. We're still here to support you and to help you gain that employment. Once a Gator, always a Gator. So it doesn't matter what you need. We will support you to make sure that you're successful. So we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And we look forward to engaging you on next month as we continue our success series. Be sure to continue to check your student email as we will continue to send you different events that are coming. If you are a graduate, if this is your last semester, you definitely need to check your email because we'll be sending some graduation information out within the next couple of days. So we're excited about that. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and we will see you next time.
Thank y'all.